Hey, this is Hey Beautiful, the podcast where we binge and recap every episode of How I Met Your Mother, no spoilers. So suit up, grab a sandwich, and settle in. Hello, Caitlin.
Hi, Kate. It's so nice to see your face.
It's so good to see your face, too, after several weeks away. Unplanned.
The damn COVID got us.
Yeah, it got you first, and then it got me.
We got that really sexy post-COVID voice going.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I sound worse than I am. I don't really have a lot of congestion, so I don't know why I still sound like this.
Wild.
Maybe things are just like inflamed. I don't really know. So if cold voice bothers you guys, this is what I sound like this week. I'm so sorry. But Caitlin likes it, so that's all I care about.
I like it. I'm not going to be... I'm not going to be eating any snacks, so, you know, if you could make it through me eating, you could definitely make it through this, like, super sexy.
Thanks, Jude. All right, let me put this down just a little bit. There we go. All right, so we're back. We're for episode 2 of season 6. Slow start for us, but we're hoping to
we'll pick up
the pace, pick up some slack this summer now that Caitlin's work is finally winding down. Praise the Lord. The only big thing that came up while we were both gone is this Neil Patrick Harris, Amy Winehouse drama, which Caitlin knew nothing about. Still knows nothing about. So I don't remember who it was. I follow them on Twitter. Some person on Twitter sort of brought back this memory that she had of Neil Patrick Harris doing this extremely distasteful Halloween party. You know how he loves Halloween, right? And I don't think it was long after. It might have been the same year it happened, but he did a cake, and it was an Amy Winehouse cake, and it was like her dead corpse. Yeah, and you can, Caitlin, I want you to go to the article that I linked.
Okay. That's surprising.
I know, but I mean, it was how many years ago? I mean, people were just a lot less sensitive about celebrities with issues. But yeah, it was like a life size.
Just the first sentence. Neil Patrick Harris apologized for once serving a meat platter designed to look like Amy Winehouse's decaying corpse after a photo of the spread resurfaced online.
I thought it was a cake, so thank you for correcting me.
It was in 2011. All right, I'm going to click on the disturbing link or the disturbing image.
Yeah. I mean, it was bad. It was like worse than I thought and very specific. And it was like
scrolling through photo after photo of Amy, which is, I'm like, oh, this is going to make it even worse when I get there.
BuzzFeed will do that to you. They want that. They want that scroll, kid. Just waiting for Caitlin's response.
I have to click to review. I finally I was just scrolled way.
Oh my Lord.
Down. Oh wait, all right, hold on.
It's like so much worse that it's a meat plate. I mean, it's bad anyway. Isn't that so bad?
Yeah.
And it feels like specific to like how she actually died. It's just really, really, really bad. And it just shows you. So obviously he apologized. This was like the only HIMYM news that really came out while we were gone.
Detailing what it was made out of, the note continued because it says if there's any doubt on who it represented, a handwritten description that had been placed beside the food read, the corpse of Amy Winehouse. And then detailing what it was made out of, the note continues in parentheses. Beef ribs, pulled pork, and chicken sausage in a spicy barbecue sauce.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's real bad. He apologized. It just shows you how far we've come as a society, I think. When it comes to specifically like famous women with issues and how we treat them, like look at what we did to Britney Spears. Like that woman is irreversible damage. And so and there's just like a lack of there was a lack of empathy. And I think that that came from anonymity, like, without the internet, because 2011, like, the internet wasn't, like, popping off.
Mhm.
It wasn't as easy for stuff like that to get out to the masses, right?
Yeah.
And have that outrage of people who, have family members who have addiction issues, and so, like, it was just easier to be in a bubble of your horrible choices, and,
Mhm.
white gay men are really good at that with peace and love, just being really horrifically offensive. So,
I
shout outs,
cannot
happy
get, like,
pride.
the yeah, happy pride. I cannot get this image out of my mind, though.
Yeah, it's bad, it's bad.
And then, like, beef ribs and
Sick.
pulled pork and chicken sausage, like,
Right,
it's
and it's just
just
all, like, funny. What year did Amy Winehouse die?
this was in 2011, I don't know when she died.
Because I don't think it was that that long after. And I mean, I remember
Oh,
those first
come the fuck
Halloweens.
on. It was well, it's also, like, this one always sticks out in my mind when, what's his name? The crocodile hunter died, and everyone was Steve
Steve
Irwin.
Irwin.
Everyone was Steve
Yeah,
Irwin
yeah.
following. Yeah, she died in July, and this was
Of
in
that
a few.
year?
Mhm.
That's so bad. I mean, I don't know what
Mhm.
there's nothing that would have made it better, but yeah, that was pretty wild to see. I'm glad obviously he apologized. I mean,
It's, like, barely 3 months.
I don't know
Barely
I
3
don't know
months.
how I don't know how we were all so insensitive at that point. What, 10 years ago? But people probably thought it was funny back then. A lot of people. And everybody was Amy Winehouse that Halloween. So it's like
Yeah.
it's tough. It's tough. But yeah, so he
She was so
apologized. That's
fucking
great.
young.
I know, and so talented, and
I know. I
it's
actually
just
heard she came up in one of my Spotify
hmm.
playlists the other day.
Yeah, I haven't heard any of her music in a long time, but RIP Amy Winehouse. Good job to Neil Patrick Harris for apologizing.
Mhm. Mhm.
White gay men continue to amaze. Speaking of, if you haven't watched Fire Island yet, it's so good.
Is it?
It's a Pride and Prejudice, like,
Say
what do
no
you call
more.
it? Revamp or whatever?
Reboot?
Reboot, I guess. And I think it's very lightly that, but people really, really like it that like Pride and Prejudice. It's, a bunch of gay guys set on Fire Island,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
the main characters are two Asian gay men who have a very different experience in the very privileged Fire Island culture. And so it
Mhm.
was nice to see the white gay guys being the villains for once, because that is
True
how it happens a
life.
lot of the time.
That's
So,
true life.
but it was very funny. Highly recommend for Pride. Happy Pride, Caitlin, and
Happy
everybody out there.
Pride.
Happy Pride,
Yes,
queers.
happy Pride. Thank you.
But yeah, so that's it for the top of the show. We'll see how long my voice lasts. Let's get right into it.
Oh.
Stay tuned at the end for 11 legendary moments from listeners like you. And now let's get into cleaning house. This episode is brought to you by our Patreon pals, especially our Almighty 5 members, Adam, Tish, and Johnny. Our Patreon family has 70 members and counting, and our sliding scale means no matter what you can afford, you enjoy all of the perks we offer. That means early access to every episode, private live streams with us, exclusive recaps of How I Met Your Father, season 2 is coming out later, and more. Join for as little as $2 a month at patreon.com/heybeautifulpod. And we have no ads, so let's get right into it. All right, so this is season 6, episode 2, Cleaning House. It first aired on September 27th, 2010, just about a year before Neil Patrick Harris did that horrible fucking Halloween party. Our director is Pamela Fryman, and our writer is Stephen Lloyd. And I will say, this is a very strongly written episode. I mean, the whole thing is just dialogue, you know?
Yeah.
There are like so many good lines throughout this episode, and I realize I don't watch this episode very much. I don't know it like the back of my hand like most
Yeah.
episodes.
It also feels like a quick episode too when I think about it.
Yeah, yeah. But so much happens, but
Mhm.
it is just like a lot of conversation. So
Mhm.
shout out to Stephen Lloyd for making it happen.
Yeah, and we'll see him again in Exploding Meatball Sub, and we got to see him actually twice last season. Do you remember which episodes he wrote, Kate?
He do Zoo or False?
And
Another one I hate?
yeah,
What other episode do I not like? Give me a hint. Give me a
No
one-word
Can
hint.
Dudesville, baby doll. I'm not going
Oh,
to
the
give you any
wedding
hints.
bride. I would say this is redemption. This is
But
redemption for Stephen Lloyd.
so I'll have to go back and see what other episodes he did write because honestly, he's written I know
He's
we've
done a
talked
lot.
about other ones. We're like, "Oh my god, but he wrote this. How can we,
Yeah. No,
we've
that I think something was going on in season 5. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, cuz he wrote Brunch,
Brunch,
Spoiler
right?
Alert,
Which is
Spoiler Alert, The Goat, Intervention, Right Time, Right Place.
yeah,
Come on.
he's a solid writing star on this show. So we will forgive season 5.
But it's hard to
This is a great
forget because
palate
it was
cleanser.
2 episodes. But we'll just in a great season.
In a great
Whatever, it's fine.
season,
You
the
know, we'll
two
let it go. We'll let it go.
stinkers.
Everyone has,
Yeah.
goes through some shit.
Yeah. So,
Who am I
okay,
to judge?
much like a Carter and Craig episode, this is hard to break down by scenes. So
Yes.
we'll just feel the flow. We'll just feel the fantasy and we'll see what happens. But we do have a cold open and it's Barney who's trying to tell this gross story about some girl he met and they're all at the bar, but he can't get through it because he's too busy thinking about the fact that his mom,
Mhm.
Loretta, is selling his childhood home and he
Hmm.
wants to get all the gang to come to Staten Island that weekend to help pack up a house. Now, that is a Murtaugh list item for sure.
For sure. I remember when you had moved at one point, and I'll forever use this line. You said, "I'm an adult with a savings account,
Yes, and
hiring
getting
movers."
movers. Yeah,
Yeah. Like
Hundo P.
pizza? No thanks. I'll buy my own pizza. I don't need to move any of your shit.
Pizza and beer, I can afford that. Like, I
Yeah.
don't need you to
No.
buy me pizza and beer anymore.
No.
But yeah, so, and I mean, I guess it's because it's like his very special stuff, right? Like from
Yeah.
childhood. But, oh, Lizzie just got home. Hi. She stole the dog.
Hmm.
Yeah, so he wants to get them out there and they're like, "Pff, yeah, right. Like your tricks might work on the bimbos that you go out with, but they're not going to work on us." And I just love this. He's so confident
I
and he
know.
just clears his throat and all of a sudden
He
smash
like,
cut to bubble
straightens a
wrap in
tie.
Staten Island. It's amazing.
And like,
And
how did he do that?
some story, I mean, we've seen him rally the troops before.
Yeah.
And this was amazing. I have to say, Lily's hair looks amazing. Robin's hair looks amazing.
I
Well,
love
they both
her
look
hair.
so
Yeah.
good this episode. Lily, I would say, is definitely rocking a bisexual bob.
Mm.
So I would say this
My
is the
childhood haircut of
first.
choice.
This and who was surprised? So I would say that this is a bisexual.
Woo!
Our first of season 6 during Pride Month. We love to see it. So yeah. So then they're in Staten Island,
Packing up all sorts of shit.
packing up all sorts of shit.
And we get to see James, who, of course, is going to stop by as he's packing up his childhood home. And it's always so
Yeah.
good to see Wayne Brady. He's just got so much energy and he just like comes in and just there's such a good flow, I feel like, with
Yeah.
everybody else.
This is a great James episode.
Yeah, I agree. Don't forget he's a dad. He has a son, Eli, which means, of course, Barney's an uncle who, as we are also like aunties and like the best aunties, of course. So we gotta start our little ones off
Yeah.
on the right feet. And
That's
Barney
right.
does the same with Eli and gets him this like little Dolce and Gabbana suit, which is just like the cutest.
Mm-hmm.
And upstairs we have Robin and Ted packing up what we can assume is Barney's childhood
Yeah.
bedroom, and they're just kind of like willy-nilly taking knickknacks off. Like I'm hopeful that Barney like did a scan of the room first. Like, what are you gonna do with this stuff? Like all these little I don't know. But there's a lot of jokes to be made, but it's kind of like game night. We get to see like how Barney's made. We get to see
Yeah.
kind of like where he got this talent for some outlandish stories and just like this really
Inflated sense of
It's like,
self.
yep, I was gonna say the same. Exactly. So it's kind of neat to get that little like insight into Barney's childhood. But Robin has, come out of her funk after Dawn and all of that, it
Mhm.
appears, and now she's trying to play matchmaker for Ted. Apparently, there's a super hot makeup girl named Liz, and she is trying to set him up with Ted, and she starts to like really talk him up, saying, he knows a body better than a woman knows her own. He's an incredible lover. Endless waves of pleasure. She's like cresting and breaking, blah blah blah. Orgasm so intense you black out. I love. He's so good. I just
Ugh.
love her in this episode.
We're hitting
And
we're hitting peak Robin, like, and it will just continue to peak, like, it's gonna be all rise like a Barney mix. Like,
yeah,
season 5 starts it, and then it's just this is like
yeah.
Robin Central, so I love her here.
hmm I love her hair too. Just
Oh,
I,
yeah.
it's so good. And Ted kind of freaks out a bit. He's like, listen, you gotta understand, like, you just broke the first rule. And this is also my personal philosophy is like,
Mm,
have super low expectations so you're never disappointed. You are only pleasantly surprised, which is the only way to
yeah.
be, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um, but she's just like really kind of like set this bar very, very high for Ted to kind of
Mhm,
live up
mhm.
to.
Right.
Where do you fall? Do you like, are you honest about stuff? Like, have you tried to do a matchmaker? Do a
Yeah, I
matchmaker
used to I
thing?
used to try to do it a lot, but I've gotten burned a lot,
Yeah.
so I've stopped, like, I don't know, I try to stay out of it now, but if I do back in the day when I would try, I tried to be pretty mellow about it.
Mm.
Um, of course, I was like over the top at first, but then once people either break up and it's weird or whatever, like you just kind of start saying like, "Hey, you guys have these things in common. Maybe you should hang out," you know? So,
So,
but I
oh
don't
shit,
I
I
don't
just dropped it.
matchmake. I don't try to matchmake anymore. I'm
Jeanette's
out of the game.
Jeanette sort of like match made Chris and I because
Yeah?
so she worked with him and he had asked me out on a date and I was like, I don't know, hey, I don't know, I'm not going with you. But I knew
Yeah.
Jeanette knew him. And so I asked her about him and I wrote, it's like, here's our story. I made him this book, like our first year of
Oh.
dating, of
Oh my
course,
god, I
right?
did that too. We're so gay.
Duh.
Jesus.
But okay. I have the screenshots from the Facebook
Caitlin, we are
messages.
the same fucking person. I have screenshots in mine and Liz's from our fucking OK Cupid chats.
Of course.
Oh
But
my
this is where like
god.
Jeanette sells him.
Oh, that's
And
cute. How did she do? Was she an
okay, so I
oversell?
said like I don't
Huge
know
dick.
him. Well, I mean, so she
Horsecock.
says, "Okay, I'm not going to lie. Chris Turner is awesome. I'm not just saying that because he's my newfound best buddy. I'm saying this because he's that cool. He's not a dick. He's not a slimeball. He totally knows how to treat a woman. He's really, really funny, trustworthy. His laugh
Oh.
is infectious, and he's great to spark conversation with. He's like that real nice guy, not fake, and he has like real morals and goals and ethics. He's a great friend. The thing I like best about Chris, he's not judgmental. He's totally chill and laid back. I'm telling you right now, you will have a blast with him. He's really smart too, and that's hot in my book. He's got a fantastic job as a computer programmer in Mass. He's from Pennsylvania. He lived from Maryland. And, well, I'll let him tell you about himself. He's just really
That's good.
cool. I'm totally psyched that we became buddies and you could bring him anywhere or do anything with him and he'll have fun. He's not like superhuman or something. And I don't want to paint this crazy, unrealistic picture.
Over.
And maybe
Yeah,
you see
yeah.
him differently than I do, but he's not bad. Not bad at all.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. She reeled it. She
So,
tried to reel it back in at the end, but she knew. I mean, she knew that this was your OTP, as the children say. So that's very sweet. That's very
yeah.
sweet. Yeah, I can't matchmake anymore. I can tell you about it off air, but
Oh, all right.
it just doesn't work out. So yeah. Anyway, so let me get my notes back. Okay. So everyone else comes up to Barney's room just as they're finding this like little basketball jersey. And then we get even more insight, like I said, into his inflated sense of self, like his, his mom told him he was so awesome at basketball, he had to quit. And it turns out even James helped lie for him because he's his older brother. And that it also happened with his birthday party. And I have to say something that might be polarizing. I fucking hate this actor for little Barney.
Why?
I don't like him. I don't
I
know.
mean, I'm not a fan either, but
You know what? It's later episodes that really just like turned me off to him. Um Maybe he's been in like a commercial where he was like a little shit or something, but like he just gives little shit vibes. Um and kind of like Tyler No Likey child actor vibes, and I'm just like I don't know. It's they had another kid that played him, but obviously that was like years ago, right? So they had to find someone new. So this is like the little kid Barney for a long time, like specifically to that age range that we see a lot. And
Mhm.
I just can't do it. I don't like him at
He's
all.
not like I would rather have what the fuck was his name? Little Boys, the kid from Little Boys.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
The one
he
who
was a little
blackmailed
shit.
Marshall? Was that the one who blackmailed
Yeah,
Marshall?
what
Is
was
that the
his
same
name?
kid? I don't remember.
Doesn't matter, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I don't like him. I just wanted to say it so I don't have to say it again, but I probably will. Um,
I gotta look up who he is now.
I really do think it was because I saw him on like a car commercial or something, and he was
Yeah.
just like such a little asshole. I just can't. I just can't do it. So sorry to this man because he's probably a man now.
What if
Anyway,
he's a fan? What if he's in the HB fam?
and he's just heartbroken.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's so
He
funny.
was gonna become a patron. This was his episode to sign on when he heard us rave about him.
The sad thing is we could probably get him on the show. Just burning bridges out here. Just burning bridges. Anyway, so
Made the bridges we burn light the way, right? Isn't that
that's
the
right.
quote?
That's right. We are the, we are the granddaughters of the witches you could not
Yeah,
burn.
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so we see more of Loretta like making things up for Barney. I love the postmaster general calling Janie Masterson's mom a whore. So good.
Well, gin on her breath at 10 in the morning. She has some nerve kicking us out of the carpool.
Nerve. And then we get an updated cut of the Bob Barker scene, which originally we saw in season 2, and it was just like a random person playing Loretta, and also it was a different
Hmm.
child Barney, one who I liked better. And so we get to see that. She lied about James's dad too. He heard
Ooh,
Bill
he's still acting, by
Cosby
the way.
and a bunch of other things. Oh God. How old is he now? I need to see a picture. Can you share a picture?
He's 20 actually. His name is Riley, of course,
Don't
Thomas
snitch tag
Stewart,
people.
and he is
Riley
the
no
voice.
likey.
He's the voice of Captain Jake from Jake and the Neverland Pirates, which is a popular show on Disney.
Oh, well, good for him. That's fine. I'm sure he's cool now. Whatever. It's fine. I don't want to dwell on
It's
it.
fine.
I just do not like him
Ugh.
as little kid Barney.
He was in this movie The Beaver with Mel Gibson. There's a picture of him where he's on Mel Gibson's hip. And I just want to smack
Ew.
them both.
Ew. Yeah, that's gross. That's gross. Um, okay, so
Anyway.
but James has outgrown most of the lies. He's a couple years older, and he also saw Loretta making up all this stuff, so he probably assumed she was doing the same for him. Barney still hasn't. So then the gang gets into this conversation about lying to your kids and like when it's okay and when it's not, which is a huge conversation. And of course, it comes to the biggest lie of Santa.
Hmm.
It's an argument that Liz and I have. But surprisingly, I am on the Minnesota side. I think Santa's cool.
I, so I'm not, yeah, I don't agree with Lily at all. Like, I've never had, like, I mean, well, I mean, like, let's face it, my mom lied to me about everything. So I always knew everything was, I never,
We were
um,
raised by boomers. We got lied to
yeah,
about everything. Yeah.
about everything.
Mhm.
And so I never thought of it like that. I didn't. It was for me. My mom loves Christmas too. It was always just about the
Yeah.
magic of Christmas. It was never about a lie. It was just like the spirit of Christmas, the magic of like believing in something that seems not real, but
Yeah, yeah.
and
I
also
I
I
wonder
told
I wonder if us being raised Catholic has to do with us being like, it's not a real lie, you know? I wonder if that's what it is. The spirit of Christmas, right? Like,
you
'cause
just
Liz,
blew my mind.
maybe that's what it is, why we're just, like, okay with it. But I don't know. The nice thing is there really isn't a right answer, but Liz got into, like, a bunch of TikTok stuff, which Caitlin and I have talked about because the floor beds, right? We've talked about the floor beds. I don't know if we talked about it on here, but
Uh-uh.
we had, like, a blowout, because she wants to do, like, Montessori
Oh yeah,
floor
we did.
sleeping if
Yeah,
we
we
have a
talked
kid.
about this. Yes, 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 yes,
Okay,
yes. We
okay.
should.
So another TikTok hole she got into was this parent who was like, I gave my child the option of if they wanted to pretend Santa was real." And I'm like, "I think that's dumb." I think that's dumb. Um
The best Santa thing I ever heard. This one I work with. Santa brings everybody one gift, and it's the gift you hope for the
I
most.
like
Like,
that. Yes, yes,
and
yes.
and yeah, and so and Santa doesn't wrap that one gift, and that was like, she goes, yeah, she's like, why should this pretend person get all the credit? Like, I'm the one busting my
Absolutely.
ass,
Yeah,
busting
I
my
don't think it
hump.
has to be like this big insane thing. Like, of course, thanks to the internet and social media, there's like Elf on a Shelf and like all this crazy stuff you have to
Fuck
do to
Elf
like
on the Shelf.
make the illusion of Santa like, oh, there's snow on the ground inside. Like, I don't give a shit about any of that stuff. But I mean, why not have a little bit of magic as a kid, right? So, but Liz
Right.
is like, but it's a huge lie and kids feel so betrayed. And I was like, yeah, that's true because I felt like the world was ending when my mom told me that it wasn't that Santa wasn't real. So, but again, I don't feel like the argument I made from that was kids are going to be devastated by things in life, and why not learn how to handle being devastated by something that doesn't really
It's it doesn't
matter?
change anything really. Yeah. You're still gonna
Cuz
get a shit ton of gifts or
right,
not. You know what I mean? Like,
right,
let's face it, even if you were a shithead, you were Santa wasn't bringing you coal. And these
right.
like poor these children who don't come from families who have a lot, they're excellent, great kids, and they don't get a ton of shit.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah.
Um,
So for me, it was like, I feel like it's almost like a controlled detonation of disappointment, and kids need to learn how to deal with that stuff. I think if you protect kids too much, then their first trauma is when they're like 15
and they
and they
can't
don't know
handle
how to deal
anything.
with it, right? So
Speaking from experience.
I am pro controlled
But
detonation of
also,
Santa.
I tell Jack all the time that lying is one of the best parts of being a parent. Like, I used to tell him, um, 2 fries stuck together are lucky, and he goes, "That's not lucky." I was like, "What's luckier than 2 fries?"
Mm,
Nothing. Like, it just meant
an
like it was gonna you
accidental
meant you have a good
curly.
day, and he wouldn't eat, pizza bubble, like, if there's a bubble in the
Mhm,
slice. This
mhm.
was, like, one of the longest running ones, and I was like,
Oh,
"No,
that's
baby,
the
you need to
best
eat
part.
them." I was like, "They have vitamins in them." Right? So then he was at, like, my parents' house, and he gave Papa the one with the vitamins. He goes, "No, Papa, you have this one with the bubble because 'cause it's
Oh.
got the vitamins." And my dad looked at him, and then Jack, like, did one of those, like,
I
"My
my
whole
life
life's
is a
a lie."
lie.
Like, he was more upset about pizza vitamin bubbles than
Than
anything
Santa.
else. He was like, "Mama, do you know how many people I told that to? I look foolish.
I look foolish, mama. Just trying to give my
Ugly,
poor
ugly,
grandpa
ugly."
trying to give my poor grandpa some vitamins. Kinda shady too, I love it.
Yeah, but
But yeah, so
anyway.
they start talking about that. Lily thinks that she doesn't wanna lie to the kids. Marshall, wants the magic of Christmas, and I'm team Marshall here. And I love this moment between Marshall and Ted where they're
Oh,
talking about some lies are good. Like, how we always tell Ted he's going to find the woman of his dreams and settle down and be happy forever. And he's like, you'll meet her, buddy. You think so? Yeah. And
it
then Marshall gives him
I
this
the
hug
and, like,
and Ted's face.
it's like his reaction, like, to me, it felt like it was, like, ad-libbed or something, like, it was just, like it just I don't know, something about the in not necessarily ad-lib, but it was just like a genuinely silly
Yeah.
interaction.
And it was, like, so self-referential because, like, we're in season 6 now, and he still hasn't met her, and, it was kind of like gallows humor in a way, and it's a top moment of the season for me. I just love that little moment.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Um Oh, and then the last thing from this bit was the lutefisk in milk.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, Santa doesn't need a sugar crash. Santa needs protein.
It's just what he needs at 3 a.m. while battling a snowstorm in the Rockies, a sugar crash. I
Oh my
love like, so
god.
practical.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Ugh.
we Santa didn't ever really get cookies too much in our household because Santa has
Right.
ADHD and would forget about the cookies, and
Oh,
Jack
oh,
didn't really
when
seem to
Jack
mind
was
too much,
little.
but one year, he was little and he woke up and didn't even wanna go look at the presents because he was so upset he didn't leave cookies out for Santa. I
Oh,
was
he
like,
was
"It's okay," like,
ashamed.
"Dude, Santa just, like, took some from the cabinet."
Yeah.
"No, we had to leave them out for Santa. We didn't leave them out. How
Oh.
could I do this?" You know how he
Oh. He's looking at his hands
his
like
little
he just
baby
killed
hands, yeah.
Santa. Oh,
So
Jack. He was such a sweet little drama queen.
I know.
I love it so
I
much.
will say this was like I was very concerned why Lily and Marshall were bringing out what appeared to be empty boxes that weren't sealed. They were just, like, open with the flaps folded in. Have you ever moved anything before?
Yeah, they're not great. They're not doing a great job at this fake move
No.
for sure.
Well, you get what you pay for, I guess, so
Yeah,
sorry,
that's right.
Loretta.
That's right.
But I think, like, yeah, but anyway, so amid all the packing, James and Barney find this picture addressed to Sam Gibbs.
Mm.
And, Barney asks, like, "Who's that?" Like, "Oh, there's this picture of, like, of us in here, huh?" And they flip it
Yeah.
over and it says, "Your son."
No, Caitlin,
Like,
it says Yorson, North
"Oh,
Dakota,
your son." Oh, wait, is that the town in North Dakota?
where they vacation but don't
Watching
remember doing it.
watching Loretta just, like, spin that lie like that. I know it's a show and it's scripted, but, like, I believed it to be a real thing, like, that's what their childhood was like. The way
So
she's
fast.
lightning quick. She's like,
I mean, you
"Oh,
see,
no."
she is Barney's mom and Barney is her son.
Apple tree.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah.
Unbelievable.
And I love, like, how she's just like as when, James asks her who Gibbs is, she, like, squeals, and she's like, "Oh, doesn't sound familiar," and she's like keeps bringing it back to the sloppy joes. "I recommend the coleslaw top because it's really delicious."
I gotta say, shout out to Sloppy Joes because I love that they get some love in this episode because literally anytime I see someone eating a Sloppy Joe on TV, that's what I want for dinner. I
I
love a
didn't have a
Sloppy
sloppy
Joe.
joe ever until, like, a HelloFresh ancho sloppy joe.
I have had that Sloppy Joe from HelloFresh, and it's so good.
Yeah, so I don't know what, like, I remember this boy I dated in high school, he used to eat Manwich.
Yeah, that's the same
Is
thing.
that like a sauce or is it like meat in a sauce? I don't know. I never knew if his mom put it
It's
in with meat or just like it was meat in it too. Like a Chef Boyardee thing.
I hope that I think the meat is separate and you pour the sauce on top. I think
Okay.
it's a cook the ground beef situation,
Okay.
and then you do a
Okay.
jar of manwich. I think. I hope.
Okay.
That's how we did it in my house, but I don't know if it was a manwich situation. It's just ground beef and, like, a sweet tomato sauce on a bun. Oh, so good. Liz hates them, so I can really only eat them when I'm by myself.
I
Yeah.
mean, they are very messy.
Love them sloppy.
Sloppy joes.
Lady, you're scaring us. Oh, Adam Sandler.
Um, Upstairs, Robin and Ted are still, packing up stuff. They have no idea what's going on down below with Sam Gibbs or even the Sloppy Joes for that matter. But Robin's trying to right her wrongs with Liz. And then she's going to respond back and just tell him that she hopes it didn't sound like she's trying to oversell Ted, that he's really a genuinely nice guy. And, like, it's just this really great email. It's
Mhm.
perfect. But she just keeps going, like, "Will he wreck your world? No. But he's clean and he's not." I love when she says, "But he's clean." I lose it every single time. Like,
And he
just
takes
the
notes. I love that.
but he's not anything weird. He's not bad. Not bad
Not
at
bad
all.
at all. So good.
Ah, um, meanwhile, James and Barney are arguing now because they're grown-ups, you know?
Mhm.
James is a father himself, and at some point, like, Barney needs to just kind of, like, wake up and realize all these lies that Loretta has been telling him over the years, and just, like, he really needs to, like, grow up because Bob Barker definitely isn't his dad, but Sam Gibbs could be, and
Yeah.
he can't keep believing in these lies.
But
And,
we've seen Barney stop believing the Bob Barker thing in Showdown in season 2 when he's face to face with Bob Barker, right? Like, he
Mhm.
specifically didn't say on live TV that, "I'm your son," because he knew, but it seems like since then he's kind of just papered over that and has comforted himself with the lie again.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's
Comfortable,
sad. Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Um But, James realizes that there is an address on that envelope and it's not too far, so he decides he's gonna go and confront him.
Takes the
Which, I mean,
U-Haul on
like,
the fucking ferry.
right? Right?
So
And also, um, how do you know he even still lives there? You're gonna drive all the way out there? You don't even know.
right. We suspension of disbelief in
I know, I
this
get
in
so
this
wrapped
case.
up in this, like, I'm too literal. This is why my friends at work, they're just like, I have a touch of autism.
The
And I don't mean
t
that with any sort of shade at all, like, it was just
Right, yeah.
messing up my brain.
So
I just
we
can't.
get to see Marshall and Lily eating sloppy joes in the U-Haul, as they should. Took one for the road, and everybody's in the U-Haul because
What's
Ted
done
and
is
Robin
done.
are in the back. What's done is done.
Which reminds me of the Broad City episode with, where they have
Yeah,
to go to a wedding and they miss the train and then they're in, like, a rent a U-Haul van or
for the
whatever.
catering, right, was it?
Yeah, that was it.
Were
Yeah,
they
yeah, yeah, yeah.
catering? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, they're in the back of the U-Haul, and then Robin is now just, like, making a joke about the whole Liz thing, and she's like, "What if we just, like, give her 2 crazy extremes and, like, let them balance each other out?" And so she writes this whole insane email, to Liz, and apparently everybody else, because she, like, I guess she CC'd the whole group because it was just so funny about, like, how great he is and then how horrible and scary he is, like, that he's, like,
Really
violent, but
handsome,
also
extremely violent, really rich,
s
lacks bladder control.
really rich, no money, no bladder control. Um, but then they hit a bump and she accidentally sends the email. Um, this is such like a flimsy storyline here. Like, obviously the big stuff is happening between Barney and James and stuff. So it's like, we know that Liz isn't gonna be anybody, but it fills in the gaps a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so they get to Sam Gibbs's house, and it's just like all the feels start to come right about here for me. Um, I will say that the Barney storyline, like, has, like, a soft spot, and James too, because my dad's dad left when he was little, like, really little.
Mm,
Um, so just, like, no matter what age that happens at, or what age you realize you're missing a parent, like, it sticks with you. Like, I remember my
mhm.
mom saying that even when my dad was an adult, and when we were really little, he tried to get his dad to, like, meet us a couple times, and his dad would be like, "Yeah, yeah, definitely," and then it would just, like, would fall through, and my mom was like he was, like, 11 years old again. Like, he was just, like, a little kid
Mm.
and was just, like, so crushed, right? So, like, seeing all this, I'm just like, "Oh my god, James," like, getting to, like, meet his father and his father being so happy to see him was
Which,
just so
like,
sweet.
because that's not a guarantee at all.
At all, yeah.
Especially being a grown man, like, what is the pr what like, to what end, like, is this like, what does this serve, like, why are you here? What do you like, is it just looking for connection? Do you want something from me?
Yeah,
Like,
do you want money? Are you mad? And
yeah.
then for James, they don't explore this at all, which whatever, but James is also gay. And so, like, on top of just being like,
Yeah.
will this man accept me as his son? There's, will this man be okay with who I am? and who
Mhm.
my family is, right? Because he's like, I have
Mhm.
a son, but he doesn't say like I also have a husband. Like there's like they just kind of gloss over that. And I know it's because
Mhm.
it's not James's story, right? But it's still whatever. So before the door opens, though, Barney admits that he knows that Bob Barker isn't his father, and he's just like terrified of this moment because
Mhm.
it's Schrodinger's dad, right? Like it's 50-50 chance at this point that it could be either of their fathers, right?
Yeah.
And
It'll be pretty clear whose dad it is.
right, so he's like, time to grow up. The door opens, and it's Ben Vereen! Motherfucking
Mayor
Zoobilee
Ben
Zoo,
from Jubilee
bitch!
Zoo.
Zoobilee Zoo. I mean, obviously, anyone older than us that's listening is like, oh my God, I can't
Like
believe you
that.
guys know him from that. I mean, he's just like super, super, super famous, incredible singer, actor. He's done all the things. He's an amazing performer,
And,
but we know
and
him as the mayor from Zoobilee
yes, and of
Zoo.
course, he had also played an estranged father in Fresh Prince. He's Will's deadbeat dad.
Oh my God, that's right. He was fucking Will Smith's dad.
And
That's kind
it's
of
so
sad
funny
that
is
he's
that
like,
I
mm,
forgot that until I'm looking through the IMDb.
oh,
Like I know that scene. It's in burned in my mind, right?
well,
And I'm
because
scrolling through. I'm like, oh, he was on Fresh Prince, and I was like, oh fuck.
it's more the scene between Will and Uncle Phil, right? Like, how come you don't want me, man? Oh,
Oh,
fucking
stop.
God. See, that's more like my dad's dad. And like, oh
True, true,
God.
true, true. Yeah. Um, Here's some little fun facts about Ben Vereen. Not that we really
Yay.
need any because he's super famous, like you said, but these are just things about him, sort of. So
Yeah.
while he was this is all on IMDb, so take it for what it's worth. But when he was
Yeah.
applying for his passport when he was 21, I tried to find dad related things, right? He learned that he was adopted and that his birth name was Benjamin Augustus Middleton. And after
Oh,
many decades of searching, he finally found his mom. She was already dead, but he did meet his blood family, including an older sister who lived in New Haven, Connecticut.
whoa. Wow. So he
And
probably accessed that to do this role, you know?
yeah,
Oh.
also, so he has a couple of kids. I think he had like 4 kids, and
Mhm.
I thought I read 2 of them have passed.
Oh
One
God.
was more recently. His son from his first wife was named went by Benji, was also Benjamin, was 55. He died 2 years ago. And he
Is
was
Ben
found.
Vereen still alive?
Yeah, Ben Vereen's still
Okay.
alive, yeah.
Okay.
But his son passed. And he
That's so
was
sad.
missing from home for several weeks, which
Oh
was sad.
man, that's
But
really
here's like a
sad.
happy thing-ish. He's friends with Jeff Goldblum, who love, and Brian Stokes Mitchell, Cole House Walker himself.
Also,
Yeah.
Fresh Prince. The connections. Yeah, because Ben Vereen did Broadway, right? Like that was his main thing. And then,
Yeah.
went into TV
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right. So
shout
anyway, yeah. So
outs.
Ben Vereen.
Perfect dad for Wayne Brady too. Like they've got like the similar vibe. They both have the beautiful voices.
Yes.
So freaking sweet.
Yes.
Um
Yes.
so yeah, I immediately started crying as soon as you see who he is and then of course like I think what my legendary moment is going to be for the episode is the way that Barney just like cuts into all these like very overwhelmingly like sweet moments when he's just like
Mm-hmm.
Papa and
Like brushes
has
over
them
to him. Yeah.
guys I'm black. Oh, Barney. Sweet little boy in denial.
This explains why I was so good at basketball.
So bad.
Yeah. So anyway, so apparently though, what is interesting is that Sam Gibbs knew about James.
Mhm.
He was only about 2 when when he found out about him. But Loretta made it very clear that she wanted to raise him on his own, and he respected that, which like I I mean like at that, but like he didn't even know, and it was 2 years. Then she goes back to tell him, and
Yeah.
I can understand. like it hurts my heart to think about that. Like he just like stayed away, but like also like that he respected her to listen to what she wanted and what was
Yeah.
best and like, you know?
And they'd only known each other a couple months, so, I mean, he probably
Yeah,
knew,
exactly.
like, we're not gonna be together, and so what, I'm gonna just, like, drift in and out of this kid's life, disappointing him all the
Right.
time?
And it's easier just probably do it on your own, you know?
Yeah, and that is
Um,
very much my grandma, like, she like, my dad's dad didn't wanna know us, but his siblings did, apparently, and my
mm,
grandma just fucking closed up shop. She was like, "Fuck all of you people," and so we never got to meet that side of the family at all.
wild.
So yeah, it's my grandma was very much Loretta, and so I totally get it. I totally get it. Not the
Well,
most healthy thing, but again, the greatest generation. They were not operating on a level of emotional
isn't that
intelligence. They were just biting the bullet, stiff upper lip,
Yep.
stuff it all down until your heart
Yep.
explodes. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, gotta
Yeah,
love
so
them.
I love Ted's comment about he's like, "Wait a minute. If Loretta they only knew each other for a couple months and Barney and James are 2 years apart, there's no way he could be Barney's dad." Ah. So yeah, so then we
he
get like some
he's
jokes
also
about
quite the
Barney.
detective. Texting Liz.
Yeah, the
So
Mosby
good.
boys on the case.
Yep.
Um, Robin's so funny. Oh, I
So
love him.
good.
You know, Barney then, with his new realization, he starts making some jokes about not being able to hail a cab, whatever, whatever. But what's really cool is that Sam and James have a lot in common. We get to see this like scene of them, like, Ben sitting at the piano. Ben, like we're friends and I know him in real life. Sam
Classic
sitting at
Ben,
the
yeah.
piano playing and playing Stand By Me. And he's like, come on, like, you know this one. And I just like,
So sweet.
Ben Vereen is just like,
And I imagine because Wayne is such a musical person, I imagine Ben Vereen must be one of his heroes, right? Like, so I mean, you can kind of see it in Wayne Brady, like how happy he is just to be doing this with Ben Vereen, and that's reading as, like, being happy that you're meeting your dad,
yeah.
so it was a great moment. It was a great moment,
Yeah, that's such a good yeah. It's so
you know?
yeah. It really feels real, like a real genuine connection between the 2 of them, and when
Yeah.
they sit together at the piano and they just start to sing, and it's so sweet. Barney makes it very difficult for me to watch that scene, but I love how Lily just grabs him,
Shepherds.
brings him back like a little boy.
Yep. The
Makes me
best part of
laugh
that
so hard.
is so Barney makes it hard to watch, but then if you watch Robin behind him, they, like, left Kobe Smulders in the frame, and every time he comes out and does stuff, she's like and she's,
I'll
like,
have to go
trying
back
not to
and
laugh. Oh, it's some of the best background stuff in the show. It's so, so good. She's, like,
I need to go
just in
back
the
and watch that
frame.
then.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it because she's, like,
She's
looking
so
off
good.
camera at everybody else. She does great. Great work there.
Um, Go ahead.
Let's see. Another great little moment is when Ted and Robin are out front in the Adirondack chairs, and they're like, "Weird day, weird day."
Weird day.
I love that. And we find out that Robin has also been overselling Liz, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? She looks like Robert De Niro. Um, and then we're back on Staten Island, and Loretta and Barney are sitting down to have a chat. And um, she says that she tried so hard to be all that they needed so they wouldn't even think about their dad, which
Yeah.
is like, it's just a silly way to, now we know, right? Like, that's never going to be true. Now we all know, like, how kids work. And that's just, you're just looking for hurt feelings if you're trying to do that. Um,
Yeah.
but still, shout out to single parents who do it. I mean, I know you did it for a while, and it's just, it's so tough because you are trying to be everything and you never will
Yeah.
be. And then I remember when Jack was younger, like, there were times when you weren't the fun parent of the two, right? Because you were
S
the, you
He calls
know?
me mean mama.
Right, exactly. So it's like, you just had to believe that when you got older, he would understand, right? But that's a
Yeah.
long game to play. That's a long game to play. And Loretta didn't really play that game. She was just trying to be the cheerleader 24/7 and
It made me so sad though to watch those like clips when Barney
I
like thinks back
know.
on his childhood, even though it's like terrible little Barney, just like watching her see her son's heartbreak and trying to fix it and make it better
I
for him. Like, that's
know.
okay. Go play in the backyard, just the
I
two of
know,
us.
the backyard one just fucking killed me. 'Cause that probably was enough for Barney. He was like, "Yeah, that sounds even better." And that's just, like, so, so, so sweet. She was doing the best with what she had and what she knew, and,
Yeah.
oh, God love her. God love her.
Bless.
Um, and then she's ready to give Barney the name and maybe the location of his father. She's got it on that little piece of paper,
Mm-hmm.
and after Barney does these flashbacks of her like we talked about, he realizes he has a father and his name is Loretta. And there's just a like the way that Bob Saget delivers this is just like so sweet to me when he was like Barney grew up without a dad. I could cry right now because it's just like so matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
But Barney is hurt for so long because of it. I know my voice is going hoarse, but um and and we know future Ted is talking to his kids, right? Who have like the best dad. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's just really sweet. It was just really, really
Yeah.
sweet. Um, yeah, do you wanna do the little bit at the end that brings us back up after that?
With Barney singing at the end.
You hated it with this fucking auto-tune? To the say, to
So
the say.
painful. Painful, painful, painful to watch.
Oh
Painful. I'm
god.
just like, oh.
I know, but I mean, they can't let the show be too schmaltzy? And Neil Patrick Harris just
Yeah, I
cuts
forgot
right
in the
through.
very beginning of the episode I wanted to bring up when Barney was talking about whatever and everyone try about like the girl or like when they were trying to when he's talking about like selling the childhood home and they tried to change the subject like anyone watch Deadliest Catch? Remember how big that show was back then?
Yeah, that's definitely like a time capsule in this episode is that
I
little
forgot. I
mention.
wrote that at the end of my notes. That's why I just mentioned it here
So
because I was just like, oh
true.
fuck, I forgot about that.
Fucking deadliest catch. And Lily's like, spoilers, spoilers. So good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That was great. Like I said, this isn't an episode that I watch a lot. So it was kind of nice to see it. Let's get
Yeah.
into all y'all's legendary moments. Let's see if my voice will last. You want to start, Caitlin?
Sure. Our
All
first
right,
one
cool.
is from Helena, and Helena writes, hey ladies, so bum I missed my chance to send a Legmo for episode 1. There's a lot going on in season 6 that I like and a lot I don't. It's a very mixed bag for me, and I'm bummed I missed the chance to start this season off. My sister calls this season the dad season, and I think about that every time I come around to watch a season when I rewatch, and we start to see why in this episode. Barney
Hmm.
has some of the best character development in the show, and we get a lot this season, starting with this episode. I like this episode a lot. Anytime Wayne Brady guest stars, it's a good time. But I think my legendary moment is the end credit scene when they're singing Stand By Me. Neil steals the scene as always, but I love looking at Kobe in the background, trying so hard not to absolutely lose it. Thanks,
Yep.
ladies, and I hope to catch you next time, Helena.
Oh, was she in the auto tune piece too? I don't know if she's in that very, very last one. I'll have to go back and watch, but thank you, Helena. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Next up is Chris. And Chris says, hi, ladies. I actually forgot how much I like this episode. So many great moments from Santa needs protein to the great advice of putting coleslaw on your sloppy joes, which he says he usually hates coleslaw. So true. It's
Mm.
like coleslaw on barbecue. It's the best.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
North Carolina all the
Needed.
way. Um, Everyone has at least one hilarious line here, but the legendary moment has to be the outrageousness of Barney's mom's lies. Two reasons. One, they are hilariously bad lies. Two, I think Barney's belief in these lies gives us an idea of why he believes that his crazy schemes and lies will work, which is probably the reason why they do end up working so often. Yeah, just that power of belief. You're so right.
Yep.
Thanks, Chris.
Next is Kalpesh. Kalpesh says, "Hey girls, this is a big season, especially for Barney, starting with this very episode, which truly belongs to the Stinsons. While I like the back and forth between Ted and Robin, for me, the legendary moment is the conversation between Barney and his mother, where he tells her that he already has a father, and his name is Loretta.
So sweet.
Honorable mention, Barney singing. Waiting for the next one as we get closer to Subway Wars. Love,
Oh,
Kalpesh.
yeah, we're doing a live
We're doing
watch
the
for
live
Subway
watch for that
Wars.
too, right?
Yes, we are. I love that episode. All
So
right,
good.
next up is Rebecca. Rebecca says, "My legendary moment is probably the brotherly relationship between Barney and James. Also, Barney getting James's son a suit is pretty cute too." Good one, Rebecca. Thank you.
Abner is in here
Oh,
too.
sorry. I thought you were reading
So,
that one
hi there.
before.
This one's from Abner. Hi there. My Legmo for this episode is Neil Patrick Harris, by far the best thing this amazing episode has to offer. He's funny, dramatic, touching, and moving all in the same episode. His
Hmm.
range is simply insane. Hope you're doing well. Have a great week, Abner. Thanks, Abner.
Yeah, range is a great way to say it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I just realized what my legendary moment is, and we didn't talk about it, so I'm excited. Okay, next up is David R, and David says, "Hey K and K. From a comedy standpoint, this is not my favorite episode, but getting more into Barney's background with his father and mother, I always enjoy. Yeah, this was
Mm-hmm.
not like a big funny episode. And I think this was a huge character development for him. The ending when he is talking to Loretta, I get choked up every time. Same. Clearly, I fucking cried on this show again. Jesus. For my ledge mode, the opener is a lot of fun when Barney cracks his knuckles and then it switches to them at Loretta's house. And Lily says, "How did he do that?" I love it. Also, not that I'm surprised, but seriously, why wasn't there a second car when they got to Sam's house? Robin and Ted have to ride in the back of a moving truck? Stay great, David R. Yeah.
I mean, got a point there,
These are the
David.
logistics we just have to let go because it's way funnier that they're in the
I
back of
can't
a
though. I
U-Haul.
can't. It makes it so hard for me. Next is Tish. Tish says, "Hey, beautiful ladies. It's so hard to choose a legendary moment for this episode. There were quite a few funny moments. So my legendary moment goes to when Ted is putting the stuff in the box he's and Barney says, and he's the and he and Barney says the package is too big for the box. He replied,
Mm.
"That's what your mom said." And it turns out his mom literally said that.
Yeah.
Also to Barney ruining the moments. And
So
Lily
good.
guiding Barney away from the moments. Regards, Tish.
Nice. Next up is
Yes.
Adam, and Adam says, "This episode is one of my non favorites. I love that we get the whole cast, including James, but other than finding out that Barney's life has been a lie, for me, the episode is meh. I do love how they explore more in depth with Barney and James's characters. My legendary moment is definitely the piano scene when James and his father are singing and Barney keeps interrupting. Till next time, my friends, your friend, Adam." Thanks, Adam.
Thanks, Adam. Next is Ben, and Ben writes, "My leadership moment for this episode are both from Barney. Firstly, the way he says thank thank you. I can't do the high pitched voice when snatching back the letter. Gets me every time, and so does his running at the end of the episode. Dad, you're not watching. It's just so funny.
Good
Reminded me
ones.
of like Stuart from Mad TV. Like, look what I can do.
Oh
Dad, you're
my
not watching.
God,
Look at me.
Stuart. Stuart.
Stuart.
Okay. Next up is Lisa. And Lisa says, "Hey, ladies, I love the Family Dynamics Season 6 presents. Amen. That being said, my legendary moment is the last scene with Loretta and Barney. It was really sweet to see how much she cared for him. Have a great week." Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks, Lisa. And last is Tim. This is such a packed episode that cleverly weaves the plot about Barney's family with a lot of great comedy moments. Like, whoa, Ted, that thing you're packing is way too big to fit in that box. Yeah, that's what your mom said. And the Postmaster General's letter is hilarious. Also, Janie Masterson's mother is a whore, and with gin on her breath at 10 in the morning, she's got some nerve kicking us out of the carpool. Love, Postmaster General. Thanks for the podcast, and especially the How I Met Your Father content that I can now enjoy in Britain. Yeah, enjoy that, Tim.
Yay.
Thanks.
That's exciting.
I'll like Postmaster General has definitely like Santa vibes.
Yeah, for sure. They have the same handwriting. So,
Yeah.
all right, Caitlin, what is your legendary moment from cleaning house?
Um, so part of me wants to say like, the growth with with Barney, and then also like just like being a single mom for like a bit and just like remembering how hard it was, and like, you know, Loretta. But I have to give it to Robin. I just love her so much this episode. I love her
Yeah.
hair. I love her chewing the gum too as she's like texting, you know, and she's just like, it's
Yeah.
clean, like blah blah blah. I don't know,
Yeah.
just I loved her. Every little bit I got of her, I enjoyed immensely in this episode.
Yeah. For me, it was this little tiny scene that we didn't talk about, but that I texted you about earlier, where
Oh, yeah.
Barney,
Yes.
but after Barney realizes, quote unquote, that Sam is his father and that he's black, and he runs to the car to get a camera to take pictures. And Lily's like, "Don't worry, we'll reel him in when he gets back, and we'll, like, you know, break the bubble on this." And Marshall's like, "It's a really big day for him. Can't we just let the guy be black for a day?" It's such a good line. Like, can't we just give him this one just for a day?
Just for a day.
Oh,
But I also
so
love
that's
like
definitely it.
Marshall looking out for his friends, you know, like
Yeah.
with Ted when he in Homewreckers, like
Yep.
being the one to like support them when everyone else is like turning against them.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for listening. We will see you next time for Unfinished in 2 weeks. Hopefully my voice will be back on track by then. In the meantime, send your legendary moments to heybeautifulpodcast@gmail.com. If you loved this recap, you know what to do. Go leave us an Apple Podcast review. That rhymed. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen so you never miss a recap. And we hope you'll come back next episode,
because it's going to be legend. Wait for it.
This has been Hey Beautiful with your hosts, Kate Gorton and Caitlin Turner. Our intro-outro music is by Owl All. And cut.